conclusion that cats, felines, just don't like doing a lot. They like observing people working, but by and large, they don't do much themselves. You know, our cats in the house here, our 3 household cats, lay around for most of the day. They run around occasionally, but most of the time they don't do much. And I've been observing the feral cats outside. We feed anywhere from 2 to 4 of them, depends on the day. And hang on one second. I'll call you back in 10 minutes. I apologize for that, but somebody needed my attention. I told them I'd call them back in 10 minutes. Anyway, the ones outside, they don't do much more either. You know, we feed them at the front, they migrate to our backyard, and then eventually they go to sleep under a couple of outside chairs there, and that's where they are most of the day. So they really don't do much. So anyway, all right, hang on one second. I'll call you back in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yep. I'm doing a broadcast live now.
Okay.
All right. Bye. Yeah, once again, I apologize for the interruption. Somebody's trying to reach me. I know who it is. And I just told them, hey, I'll call you back in about 10 minutes. So anyway, carrying on with the cats. Nothing to do with today's reading, by the way, but I just observed they're not too enthusiastic about being energetic, either the inside or the outside ones. So there you are. All right, well, today's reading before my screen is adjusting. Look at that. Hopefully that's good enough, right? Maybe. How about that? There we are. Anyway, getting on with today's reading. So here is Reverend Michelle again. This is a good one. Self-criticism is not self-love. Self-criticism is not self-love. Most of us, including myself, we're pretty good at self-criticism, right? We're not all that good at self-love. First quote is from Louise Hay, who I'm sure you've heard of her. She was head of Hay House Publishing, but in the AIDS era, she actually did an awful lot to help people suffering from AIDS. And then she wrote books, and then she started this publishing house, which is still going on. Louise Hay. You have been criticizing yourself for years, and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. You've been criticizing yourself for years, and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself. And Ernest Holmes, he says, love creates tolerance and human understanding. We cannot be happy or enjoy the greatest fulfillment in life until we come to see that most people try to do about the best that they can. And that's true. I wish Holmes had said love creates acceptance and human understanding. I've got an aversion to the word tolerance. I think it's okay, but acceptance is better. I see when I see this, I go to the gym, and some of the people there are, shall we say, way in excess of how they should be as regards their physical size. But the point is this, they're doing the best they can. You know, some people are critical of them, but they've gone to the gym. They've made the effort to go to the gym, and I applaud them. You know, anybody who goes to the gym and tries to work out there, I applaud them because they've made the effort and they're doing it. Other people haven't. So that's just one of my observations when I see people doing that. To continue, Reverend Michelle says, what a great question to consider today. Well, does criticizing myself work? It is one thing to notice what we tend to do well, or what we do not do well, or we want to improve upon. For years, for example, she says, I was critical of my decorating skills. It took many years for me to realize that I'm also not good at many other things, and it's okay. Eventually, I let myself not be critical just because, why? I can't speak fluent Japanese or play football well. These are just things that are not in my skill set. But that does not make me less than someone who masters these skills. Even the things I would like to be good at or better at demand a lot more than mere criticism for me to improve them or to be at peace with them. Indeed, the more critical I am of myself, the less effective I am at anything. Why? This is because my thoughts and consciousness become my reality, and that critical energy often has a greater emotional charge than an easy acknowledgement of my skills. It is creative and impactful in exactly the way that I do not want it to be. The true north of this issue seems to be an easy willingness to neutrally be willing to entertain the gifts we possess and the gifts that are not ours, without needing to speak or think meanly about ourselves. So once again, I think this is a lesson that really doesn't need a lot of unpacking. We're all good at brilliant things, and we're not good at some other things. Well, for instance, Reverend Jesse Jennings, my senior minister, he's got this fantastic brain that he can just pull names of authors out of the air and quote them. And I can't do that. But when I teach world religions, I can come up with a lot of stuff and just put it out there. And I can come up with stuff in different languages. We all have different skill sets. And let's face it, if we all had identical skill sets, just like if we all looked alike, talked alike, acted alike, it would be an enormously boring world, I think. So I think it's good that we're all doing different things and we can complement each other. My father was a brilliant plumber. I can get by, but I'm not a brilliant plumber. He didn't have a college education. I did, so we're all good at different things. So I think the message is clear. And as I said, when I think a message is clear, I'm not going to unpack it anymore. I think it's just clear in itself. So bottom line is this: accept yourself as you are with the gifts that you have and be grateful for the gifts that you got. And be grateful for the gifts that other people have that you don't have. Because the very act of being grateful in itself produces wonderfully good energy and benefits you and everybody to whom it broadcasts. So that's it. Today I celebrate and acknowledge all that I'm good at. Today I celebrate and acknowledge all that I'm good at. And that's it for today. Look out for my colleague, Reverend Lisa Ryan, tomorrow morning on Creative Life Spiritual Center's Facebook page at 9:15. Look out for me tomorrow evening. Yeah, I can do it at 5 o'clock. We have a dinner to go to for our birthday tomorrow. So until then, just practice the looking at yourself in the mirror and repeating, I love you, I love you, I love you. And with that will come acceptance of yourself as you are, with the gifts you have and with the gifts that you don't have. So until next time, namaste.